Okay, welcome councillors. I'll open the ordinary meeting on Thursday the 21st of August at 4:03, I think it is. We have record of attendance. We do have a leave of absence from Councillor Strange, previously approved. Item 3, declarations of interest. We had no declarations handed in, so we'll just go through the different types. Financial declarations of interest. Are there any financial declarations of interest? No. Any closely association person and impartiality interests? No. Proximity interests? No. Item 4, response to previous public questions. There are none. There are no public questions. Item 6, there are no petitions, deputations, presentations, submissions. Item 7 is applications for leave of absence for our next meeting in September. No. Item 8, announcements. There are no announcements by myself. Item 9, confirmation of minutes of the ordinary meeting of council held on Thursday the 24th of July 2025. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Foss, moving. Seconder, thanks, Councillor Hodgkiss. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. Item 10, matters for decision. There are none. Oh, sorry. Item 10.1, Manager of Works and Services. There are none. 10.2, Manager of Strategic Business Development. There is none. Item 10.3, the Manager of Finance. Welcome, Mr. Darby. Item 10.3.1, Schedule of Accounts paid for July. Take it away.
The schedule of accounts is presented there in front of you. If there are any questions or queries on it. See, we've added a new column there for items where it's either grant funded or recoverable or partially recoverable. Just to show a bit more where expenses are related to.
So thank you very much. As previously discussed, it makes it a bit easier to see what is grant funded and what is not and what's municipal funds. If there are no questions, we do have a recommendation that we note the report is presented. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Verhoot. A seconder? Thank you, Councillor Waite. All those in favour? Thank you, it's unanimous. Item 10.3.2, the monthly financial report for July. Mr. Darby.
Thank you, Mr. President. The monthly report for July, you've all received it. Being the first month of the budget year, there's not a great deal happening in there. No projects have really got underway yet in terms of capital expenses, etc. And obviously the rates haven't been raised until early August, so they don't appear in there either.
Any questions or queries, councillors? No, otherwise we have a recommendation that we note the report as presented for July 2025. Do I have a mover? And a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Hodgkiss. A seconder. Thank you, Councillor Foss. All those in favour? Thank you, it's unanimous. Item 10. Thank you, Mr. Darby. Item 10.4, regulatory services. There are none. Item 10.5, Manager of Governance Community Services. 10.5.1, the Strategic Risk Register. Mr. Garte.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are bringing the Strategic Risk Register to Council for consideration, and I have a short presentation for you just to outline where the register fits within our governance arrangements and what we have done in developing the register. So first of all, our risk management governance arrangements. We have 4 components within those arrangements. The first one is our risk management policy, which outlines the Shire's commitment to best practice risk management to the extent possible. It also outlines Council's commitment to integrate risk management into all aspects of the Shire's operation and provides different roles and responsibilities. Our risk management framework is a larger document that has been provided to you as part of the agenda. It indicates what the governance arrangements are for us to manage our risks. It also outlines the process that we follow to identify, evaluate and manage risks. And it also provides for the Shire's risk appetite, which is described in the tables provided at the back end with the risk consequences and likelihood and Shire's position as to whether to accept or not a risk. We also have the strategic risk register, which you're considering today, and an operational risk register, which the CEO will be looking after. So what's strategic versus operational risk? A strategic risk is a risk that affects the long-term achievement, the achievement of our long-term goals, whereas the operational risk focuses more, has an impact on the short-term operation, is disruptive in the short term. Largely, strategic risks stem from external factors, but there could be some internal factors that lead to strategic risks. And in contrast, operational risks are usually more related to internal processes. To start working on our strategic risk register, we had to go back to our strategic community plan 2022-2032, which was developed some years ago. And in that plan, Council identified several strategic risks that you thought that we should be aware of and manage. So 18 risks were identified, 8 of them internal and 10 of them external, and that is a lot of risks for a risk register. While there's no official guidance as to how many risks should be incorporated into a register, the general rule of thumb is that not more than 10 or 15 for them to be manageable. And usually that is driven by, it's depending on the size of an organization and also the complexity of the operations of an organization. We're quite small, so 18 is way too many. Plus, if you have a look at the risks outlined there, there's a lot of overlap between them. So what we have done is we've done a rationalization of the strategic risks contained in the community plan, and we've combined those that had a common theme, and we've come up with 8 risk categories, which are financial sustainability, changes to economic conditions, infrastructure, regulatory changes, workforce, community expectations, population demographic, and pandemic. In the report that you've been provided, you have details about where those 18 risks identified in the community plan fit under these categories. So you have all that visibility there. So once we rationalized the risk categories, what we did was an evaluation of each inherent risk. That means we evaluate what the consequence and the likelihood of that risk arising is, taking into account the controls that we currently have in place. Then we identify further controls to manage that risk, and that led us to an assessment of whether those controls are effective or not. And a risk is more effective when it's measurable. There are control mechanisms that allows us to check whether we've actually done what we were meant to do. And once we assess the effectiveness of the controls, then we assess the residual risk. The residual risk is basically making an assessment of what level of risk we think we have, as if we had applied all the controls that we have said we are going to apply. And depending on how high or low the residual risk is, then we would have considered further treatment to reduce the risk level. But we were not in any situation to get to this point. All the risks, we managed to take them to a level that was manageable. So after doing all that work, we came to a pretty good position. Out of our 8 risk categories, 3 of them fall within the low risk category as inherent risk, and those are financial sustainability, regulatory changes, and community expectations. 5 risk categories fall within the moderate risk band, and those are changes to economic conditions, population demographic, workforce, inadequate infrastructure, and pandemic. No risk categories with high or extreme risk ranking, so that is quite good. You have been provided with the actual risk register, which outlines all the process. You will see what we've done there. You can see all the controls that we are planning to apply to each risk. And we also have deadlines assigned to each of those controls. Importantly, each risk control has been allocated to a management team member. That is our responsibility to implement. And the controls have also been added to the they haven't been added. They will be added to the Attain compliance calendar to make sure that we can monitor their implementation. And we will be providing regular updates on the implementation to the Audit and Risk Committee. So, the Audit and Risk Committee has considered the risk register earlier today, and they have agreed to put it to Council for approval. Any questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Gallagher.
If there's no further comments or questions, we do have a recommendation that we consider the Audit and Risk Committee's recommendation as to whether the advised strategic risk register as presented in the attachment should be adopted by Council. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Crooks. And a seconder? Thanks, Councillor Waite. All those in favour? Thank you, it's unanimous. Register item 10.6, Mr. Ferd. 10.6.1, the Walga Annual General Meeting, voting delegates.
Thank you, Mr. President. A relatively straightforward request for resolution from Council, as they are being asked to determine who will be attending the 2025 Walga Local Government Convention and Annual General Meeting, and are being asked to nominate its voting delegates. There's a requirement for the 2 appointments voting delegates. They are usually the Shire President and the Deputy Shire President, hence why the officer's recommendation reflects that. But also there is a requirement to identify 2 proxy voting delegates, and that would in any event be required to vote on behalf at the annual general meeting that would be held on Tuesday the 23rd of September 2025 at the Perth Convention Centre. Opening up to Council to discuss, the recommendation is there, but we do also, Mr. President, require 2 proxy voting delegates as part of this item.
I'll open this up to councillors, aware that Councillor Strange is not here, and I would suggest Councillor Strange would be a proxy, but I'll open it to the floor if other councillors would like to be proxies.
I'm happy to be a proxy.
Okay, so if no one else wants to be, I would maybe suggest that Councillor Waite and Councillor Strange would be the proxies for this year's Walga Congress, and going forward, potentially we will probably not need to have this as an item in agendas because it doesn't need to be an agenda item as such. We can nominate. So for this year, we'll go through the process as we've always done, but to expedite, we'll.
So, Mr. President, just in amending the officer's recommendation, then can I suggest that Council considers the following? That Council appoints Councillor Ramesh Rajgopalan and Councillor Tony Crooks as voting delegates, and 2 other councillors, Councillor Stephen Strange and Councillor Brendan Waite, as proxy voting delegates at the Western Australia Local Government Association Annual General Meeting to be held on Tuesday, the 23rd of September 2025 at the Perth Convention Centre.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And if I move, thank you, Councillor Bahout. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Foss. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 11, there is no new business of an urgent nature. We do have item 12, confidential item. Do you have a confidential item? Would someone like to take us behind closed doors? Thank you, Councillor Waite, and thank you, Councillor Bahout. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 12.1, interim audit management letter. Update there. But if there's no further questions or comments, if someone would like to take us out behind closed doors. Thank you, Councillor Crooks, and thank you, Councillor Bahout. All those in favour? Thank you, it's unanimous. Item, we have a recommendation. The Council accepts the Audit Risk Committee's recommendation as to whether to receive the interim audit management letter for the financial year ended 30th of June 2025. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Waite, and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Bahout. All those in favour? Thank you. And with that, I will close the meeting.